All right. So, welcome to Yin Restore class today. Looking for either a couple blankets or a blanket and a bolster, a block and a strap if you have it. If you don't have a strap, don't worry. I will give you options for all the things like I like to do. Let's start in cross-legged position, but a little bit different than what we normally do. You've done this with me before, but pulling the heels back so that the feet are back by the hips and coming out to the sides. Right, so it narrows my knees. Notice how, right, my knees are a different height. You might sit on a different height. If you have that bolster, that could be appropriate here because that top knee is so high. So I'm right away getting some pressure into my right calf for my left shin because that's how my legs are crossed. We'll do both sides, so don't worry about which side you picked first. And then let's just bring palms down to the thighs with the elbows back underneath the shoulders, just to give your legs a little bit of weight in this different shape, closing the eyes, right? So you might have some varying degrees of sensation in the legs right away. And use that as a tool to bring your awareness into your body. Always beginning our practice by starting with that. Intentionally setting aside the rest of your life and putting time into you, to your body, into your mind, your spirit, any of the places that you need to be filled and nurtured. Noticing the quality of your thoughts. And do so without judgment. Getting a gauge of where you are right now. It's easy for us to want to change that if it's not a place that we feel like we should be. But that's where you are. And again, we're here to honor you, not the things that should be. Take the palms together at the center of the chest. Feel that connection. Awareness of the sensitivity of the palms and the information that they bring back to you. Allowing a simple intention to come for your practice today. To allow you to stay present, or a tool to bring you back to you. So again, not based on any shoulds or anything outside your own body. Place your intention into your heart. Bow your chin to your chest. Stay. Lifting the head. Open eyes gently. Lean back, take the legs out. Just opening up through the backs of the knees. Flex and point. And circle a couple times, big circles with your ankles in each direction. Right, so then finding the awkward cross of that same position. So my feet go wide, which sends my knees narrow, right? And vice versa, whereas when the knees go wide, the feet are in towards the midline. So we're reversing that shape and getting a little compression on the calves, a little release, and we'll do alternate nostril breathing. For 5 rounds of breath, I'll talk you through the first 2 rounds. The Pointer and middle finger come down, or up to the third eye center, right? And you can stabilize there. Keeping the ring and the pinky and the thumb out. So take a breath cycle, holding the mudra. And at the end of your exhale, close off your right nostril and inhale slowly through your left. Pause to switch. Exhale slowly through your right. Pausing at the bottom. Inhale through the right. Pause to switch. Exhale through the left. Inhale left. Pause to switch. Exhale right. Inhale right. Pause to switch. Exhale left. 3 more rounds on your own, switching for the exhales. Sending your breath into your whole body. Once you've finished, stacking the palms in the lap. Breathing deeply through both nostrils. Extend the legs again, leaning back. Open up through the backs of the knees, pull toes back, send them forward, right? Explore that full range of motion and then circling ankles. So try and keep the thighs neutral, right? Not coming from the hips to make that turn. Alrighty, so starting right off with kind of a big one. If you have the bolster, you're gonna put that behind you. We're gonna do reclined hero's pose, but instead of having the knees in and the shins out like we do sometimes, we're gonna have the toes in and the heels underneath the sitting bones and the knees wide. It gives us a little bit more access to the hip flexors. So we're gonna do that. You can stack up, or I'm sorry, put a blanket underneath your shins, feet if you need. So right, if I have, I'm gonna use a couch cushion. This couch cushion right here could be just the right thing for me. And I put my toes together, sit back. As I lean back here, there's this spot where I have to talk to my pelvis to get some extension and move on through the stretch. So I lift the hips up, right? Tuck the tail under, and then lay back. That might work. You want to find something. Oh yeah, that can do it. Right, and so you could play, you could stack up your blankets and do something like that with the block underneath. It doesn't have to be a super big incline, right? Because even just leaning back here, as long as you are making sure that you're lifting up the hips and tucking the tailbone under, right? Yeah, oh, there we go. And support my low back. Right, and so then if you can't find anything that works here, or the knee flexion is too big for you, which is definitely something that happens, then you can do more supported bridge. Yeah, either with a blanket or a block, lifting up the hips. You see how we have the same kind of extension here? And you might even play with taking a foot back, and I'll tell you when we're halfway. So you could tuck a toe under and stay back. Yeah, but if you can do the reclined one, that's the preferred. Right, but do be mindful about the knees, because if you get in there and it's like maybe not, then you know if you're gonna stay for 3 or 4 minutes, it's gonna get a bit more like that. So opening up through the hips, through the quads. It should be a strong sensation, right, in the belly of the muscle. And with hip flexors and things like that, normally we say we don't want to feel a stretch in the joint, but because of how the muscle runs through the hip joint, a stretch in that hip joint is appropriate through the front. Yeah. Knee joints, not so much. And you can feel compression in there. You don't want to feel any sharp pain. You're really trying to send the breath all the way out through the body. Notice where your thoughts have gone. Three more breaths. So to come up, press your hands into the ground, but also pull your navel back towards your spine and send your spine towards your navel. So there's an arch in your back as you come up. that's supported by the front and the back body. And come forward carefully. So just the coming out of that pose, there's a lot of benefits to the compression. And circle your ankles again, and then let's go into a wide down dog so you can just go around that stuff you got. Open up through the backs of the legs. You can pedal calves. You maybe find a little more access to your quads now that you've balanced them out a little bit. Too tight muscles are weak as well. Want that muscle to be in its mid-range where it fires most effectively. And down to hands and knees, 5 rounds of cat and cow. Follow your breath. You get the inhale for the front spine opening and the exhale for the back side, but you can reverse that as well. Just whatever connects you most effectively to your body, your movement. I'm going to take the legs out in front of you. Paschimottanasana, forward fold. So I'm going to say everybody grab a little bit of support. It's just nice to get that help of turn of pelvis. My other thing, let's see what I'm doing here. Right, so that you're up on your, when you get up on your support, you really want to pull the flesh back so that we're getting this tilting of the pelvis forward, right? If you get the flesh stuck up underneath you, you get stuck. We can't turn from the pelvis here, right? And then if you're really, if sitting upright at a 90-degree angle is already forward fold for you, you can bend your knees and take them a little bit wider than the mat and go through the legs this way, because then we don't have to deal with the hamstrings as much. So, right, pick what's good for you. I like feet hip distance for this. Start with the legs strong, toes pulled back, rooting down. And then start to walk forward with your sternum. And then when you hit your edge, you can stop here, kind of let the legs soften. Let the shoulders round forward, but be careful you don't take your spine back and tuck your tail underneath you. Yeah. Then if you have other support around, if you had that bolster, you could maybe drape it across you and take your arms over, right? If you want to do a little more support that way. There is a version of this that's really restorative that you do with a chair, right? You put your head on the chair seat right here, and it's just super, super chill, right? So decide where you want to go with this. The more sensation you elicit, the deeper the fascial shifts are going to be, the changes in the patterns, right? Making some length. But the less sensation you engage, the more parasympathetic you can bring in when you're just focusing on that, right? Sensation and these deeper stretches and moving into new territory, while it is very important and transformative, it's not necessarily at that nurturing, restoring places, right? Because you're asking for change instead of creating an environment of relaxation. So both are useful, but just see where your body is at today. And again, you're not passing through the should list to find out where you want to go with this. You're listening to your body. If it feels like you've done a lot today, you don't, or this week or this lifetime or this year for sure, then you don't need to do more, do less. That's what your body wants. That's how you're going to serve it best, right? If you feel exhausted, then do less in your practice and cultivate breath and relaxation. If you're feeling a little bit stagnant and you need to shift energy, then maybe add a little more sensation. Now I will shut up so you can do you. Scan your body for any unconscious holding. Three more breaths. Take your hands back and slowly roll up, stacking the vertebrae. Bend your knees. And come off that blanket. And then we'll lay on the back. Make sure you got room. Your sides, and then widen the feet and drop the knees in and take your arms overhead. A little bit of neutral spine. And then just a little gentle pelvic tilt. So not big, just a rock on the sacrum to neutralize the discs. And you're gonna, keeping the feet as wide as the mat, drop both knees over to the left. And one hand can take the other wrist overhead if you want, or if it's not coming up that high, it's fine. And then maybe you take your left foot to the outside of your right knee to add a little bit more pressure. But again, listen to your knees. And then if for some reason knees are still a thing even without that foot there, you might put like a bolster or a blanket between your legs so that right leg isn't dropping to the ground as much. Yeah, if you want more sensation but that left foot's too much, just reaching your right knee away from your head will also add more to the situation. So pick something. There is a bit of work awareness to keep that left foot on your leg, depending honestly on your yoga pants and sweatiness. Use your breath as a tool to keep you in your body. Be seeing it as a color, just light, inhaling it into the places that feel tight or sensational or just kind of dead. I hate to use that word, but just kind of not really connected to. Sending it out with your exhale. Go 3 more breaths. Gently releasing the left foot if you have that. Taking the knees into the center. Again, widen them and let the legs drop in. Be a little rock of pelvis side to side, front to back. You can play with a little kind of circle on your sacrum, right? So if you go towards your tailbone and then go towards your right hip and then go towards your low back and towards your left hip. Okay, do that again, a little circle to the right, clockwise. And then go the other way, counterclockwise, tailbone, left hip, low back, right hip. And this provides not only movement through the pelvis and the spine, but adds proprioception to what's happening in the middle of your body, which is very useful. So again, feet are hip or as wide as your mat, and now we drop to the right. If you had your hands clasped, switch it. Maybe right foot comes up to left leg. But if you did it on the first side and it doesn't work on this side, then omit it and just add that reach of the knee away from the head to add more sensation. Notice the quality through the left side of the hip, that outside glute, the left low back, up through the armpit. Check that your shoulders aren't holding any unconscious tension because your arms are overhead and they just feel like they have to help. Three more breaths. Gently remove the right foot. Take the legs back to the center. And feet wide, knees narrow. Just a little bit of movement through the pelvis. Take hands down to your belly and just find neutral here. See how things have shifted. Take your knees up into your chest. Wrap the arms around them. Get into little reclined balasana and rock. And roll to one side, roll down the middle, and sit up. Alrighty. So you're gonna need either a wall or your couch or something like that. A coffee table. Let me see if you can see me. Josephine, will you come here for a second? All right, so Josephine's gonna help me a little bit. I'll show you this first view. I think this is totally worth it. That's why I'm doing it, even though it's kind of weird. So you get up against the wall, you get a blanket, a block would work too. It's just something like, because we don't want the foot exactly flat on the floor. So we're doing reclined extended side angle. This one, right? This tube on the ground. Okay. And you guys know enough about yoga, and that's what's so rad. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I got enough room that I'm gonna put my leg back. So my right foot, my knee stacks up, and then I gotta do this move where I scoop my butt so I'm on my right hip. Yeah, you got that move? And I'll remind you of it. Then I'm gonna lay down close to this right knee. Get my right shoulder close to my right knee and roll my chest open. Yeah. Then this back leg reaches back. Oh, it's so good. I haven't done it in a while. I forget how good it is. Right, and then I like my arm here, keeping the knee, this arm overhead. Oh, it's so lovely. And I get the pinky edge rooted down there and this opening. Yeah, so let's give it a go. Find your spot somewhere in your house. I think we're good, dude. Thank you. So get that right foot up against the wall or the couch and stack your knee right over it. Yeah, and then we're looking for a 90 at the knee as well. So when I first come in here, I'm kind of up on this part, but I gotta lay down, so you can even come down on this right elbow. Take your left hand onto your thigh butt and scoop it, so you're really on your right side hip. Then you're already down. Lay that right shoulder close to the right knee, and then roll your left side open. Now I'm gonna extend that left leg back and see what's up. Ooh, I could even maybe squidgy a little bit closer with my torso. Right arm comes on that knee, fingertips kind of just hang out there, and then left arm in line with ear. Más o menos. Yeah, so it's really lovely opening through the right groin. I get this on my left hip point pulling open. We're not going to stay super long, like at least 2 minutes, and there's a little bit more activity to this one. You can let that back leg kind of go, but honestly, I get more stretch and release by engaging that leg and taking the thigh bone down towards the earth. Right, letting my right hip scoop towards my left heel. Just breathing into that spread between the right knee and the left thigh. This is a lovely opening through the left side body and ribs. Again, check the shoulders, making sure they're not accidentally trying to help. 3 more breaths. So to release, I'm gonna roll over towards the right, take my left arm forward, bend that left knee, come into a little ball towards that right leg. And just chill there for a breath or two. And press yourself up.
Oh, let's try the other side. Which may or may not be easier because you did it once already, but it's also the left side, so that always makes it interesting. So set your blanket up. Oh, I know. The other reason the blanket's there is because your ankle bone's bony and it doesn't feel good pressing into the hard ground. Stacking knee over ankle at a 90-degree angle, and that 90 at the side makes my hamstring go lower, right? Because I put a little bit of tissue there. Leaning over that left elbow so that I can scoop my left glute towards the wall or couch, right? So that now that I'm on my left hip where I need to be, laying my left shoulder close to my left knee, snuggling in, it seems like a little ball, and then rolling the chest open, yeah? And now searching that right leg back to the other end of my pose. Whew. And then left arm, elbow just rests nicely there on the knee to stabilize. Reaching out through that right side body is just the beauty of this pose on the ground when we don't have to hold ourselves up under gravity. You get to access some of what this pose holds that we can be limited to other things that are going on when we have to not fall down. Right? So now you can just work on the dynamics of the feet pressing to give you more opening, that softening of your left hip towards your right heel, those right ribs rolling back towards the earth, because this is an opening, not quite twisting yet. We are in a neutral side, more of a side bend, but ultimately a bit of a rotation there at the middle to open up the chest. Back leg is strong and that thigh bone pulls back, opening up the right side of the pubic bone, that whole pelvic plate there. And these are sometimes more subtle, while there might be strong sensations throughout. Defining these little areas right at the groin, right where it attaches to the pubic bone. There's a lot of restrictions happen right there that a little bit harder to get to when we are standing. Three more breaths. Rolling yourself towards the left, bending that right knee and elbow, curling over. And pull your left arm up and just get into a little fetal position there. And then pressing up gently and come back to your mat. Okay, so grab your strap if you have it, and if you don't, then grab a block. Strap is our sub-occiput release. I'll give you this one in a minute. So it's a pretty big strap, right? I put it around my neck and then lay down. Then put my feet in. Before adding any tension to my feet, I gotta place the strap. So then it comes up here at the base of the skull. It's about mid-ear, right where that hook is. And then to keep this strap in place, I have to add traction by pressing my feet away from me. Right, if you've ever had any cervical spine issues like bulging discs or things of that nature, you're not gonna do this version, okay? But if you're doing this version, chin melts to chest, shoulders melt back. Yeah, really passive. Feet can go from one side to another to open up through the sides of the neck. And then the other version would be take the block, and we just kind of emulate the same situation by pulling back so that we're kind of, the block's about, it's above that occiput ridge now. So that we get the chin going into the chest, right? So it's opening up through the base of the skull. And then you can also here, real nice, got it positioned, turn your head gently to one side and hit that occiput nodule, and then the other side. Oh yeah. It's all good. And knowing that it doesn't need to be a super strong sensation. Right? This is really important opening for that forward head posture that happens in so much of our life. The driving, the looking at the computer, phone, yeah. So wherever you are, just sending your breath into the base of your skull. Both positions have compression there at the throat, which is appropriate. You might swallow to help relax through there. If it feels kind of bulgy and constricted, you can always back off, but know that that area is supposed to be able to be soft. So it could be a little energetic, something stuck there in that Vishuddha chakra. It might be tight neck muscles, just straight up. That will translate to the front side of the neck. And so that's in all of this practice, you're finding what's appropriate, level that you can cultivate your breath and not feel restricted by sensation or even emotion. Three more breaths.
So if you have the strap, you're gonna grab it close to your face on either side and then hold your head up, right? And let your legs out and slowly let your head down. If you got the block, try and roll to one side to come out of it as opposed to lifting your head up. If you already did, it's no biggie. And then everybody will land back on the back just for a few moments. Softness. And roll to the side to sit up, opening the throat the other way. So do a supported fish pose, but with a blanket today. So if you take it and then like roll, fold it. If you have a thicker end, like my folded end is thicker than my open end, put that on the head side. And then butt will stay off of the roll. Head goes on the roll, and I did a little tuck of my tail, so I got the length of my low back. Then once you get back here, you're gonna tuck that little bit so that your head drops back. And it should be really nice and supported with that roll underneath. So, and you can pick how big the roll is, right? If you want it a lot bigger, then that thing moves more underneath your shoulder, like tops of shoulders. If you want a little less curve, you keep that just right up against the back of the neck. It's a nice one. I mean, I like the block version, but this one's feels more supportive when my neck is really tight. You want to make sure your low back is addressed. Yep. Now opening up through the throat. We had some compression and now we have the opening and the stretch. And you can swallow to see if that helps to release any tension there. This is a very open position. We're really opening up through all of our chakras, helping to bring balance throughout the system. Three more breaths. Keep your head heavy, stand your feet, bending the knees, roll to one side. Pausing there. You can pull that blanket out of the way and you're gonna roll onto your back. Time for Shavasana. You choose, you can use that blanket across your pelvis to give you a little weight. You could unroll it a bit and put it underneath the neck for that just cervical curve support. Right, just enough roll to fill in underneath the neck. Feeling that forehead just a little bit higher than the chin so that you know your skull is in the appropriate orientation to your spine. Make sure you're warm. Settling in and allowing your body to get even heavier. The beauty of these chiller, more meditative practices is we're in a mild state of meditation throughout. So now you can really just sink into that. Moving into observation.